Welcome, bienvenue, and welcome to Painting with Light. We've got some minis here and they need painting, so we're gonna paint them. I do need to remember that my boom arm is not super stable, and so it will wobble if I lean too hard on the desk. Now, we're not going to be able to get through all of them tonight. We are unlikely to even finish one tonight, but it's okay. Let me double check that Twitch is liking it. It thinks it's excellent, but it's not showing me, so whatever. Hey, Mac. Welcome back. And Sugar, welcome back to our first ever painting stream. That's right. Welcome back to the first hour. Okay. Looks like things are looking pretty good. Things running on the various systems. Brilliant! And now, for the big reveal. My hands. Probably shouldn't get them quite that close to the camera. Spoilers! And so we got a couple of little buddies here that are mostly painted. They could probably use a little bit more detail work, just like my camera placement. But you can also see that the base isn't quite done yet. It could use a nice coat of black around that edge. Tom! Welcome back. And so I need to figure out where this camera focuses the best such that you can get a nice look at this guy. Because if I bring him too close to the camera, sometimes has trouble focusing. But that's not bad. Oh, it lost the focus again. Nope. Yeah, it has a bit of trouble. Foreground, background. Hello. So, yeah. Mixer ate your message. Model. Moodle. Hand Moodle. So yeah, we've got a handful of skeletons wearing jeans. They don't have a whole lot of pop to them. Like, they've got an okay amount of highlight and shading. They've got some nice dry brushing to make them look more like bones and not like ivory. You've got soda. Soda is a good thing to have for one of these trees. So if I do work with these guys, I would likely add an actual light source, because right now there's no source. It's all ambient. Could use a little bit brighter highlights, maybe a little bit darker shadows, and possibly a little bit of hue change on the jeans. Am I married? Indeed I am. Orange paint, nice. Yes. Ring! Extortion bunny! Yeah, wobble, 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 wobble. Yeah, I definitely need a better setup, but it is what it is. But yeah, Tom might not have been here for any of the Extortion bunny. For any of the Extortion bunny streams. So, any lack of knowledge there could be forgiven. So, should we work on detailing these guys, or should we start on something new? I suppose I should show you the other things that we might be painting. It'll be a little bit difficult. It might be a little difficult getting the details on some of these things, but we've got a toad. And actually we have several toads. As a matter of fact, we have two toads. Two toads. We've got the witches that can turn you into toads. But I only... Oh, there's the witch. So this is for Super Dungeon Explorer. It's a board game with chibi-type miniatures where you go in as heroes and fight various monsters. And one person plays the board, everybody else plays against them, or you get the Forgotten King, I think is the name of the expansion, and then the board plays itself, and you just play against the board. Might have to go soon. Oh, might catch the end? That's okay. What else do we have? We've got a necromancer-type person. Holding a little skull. Very nice hair. I like the hair. So much fizz. Yeah, that lag on the mobile is a little extreme there, Mac. We've got dudes in armor. I'm not doing the dudes in armor today because I don't have any metallic paint, and I am terrible at non-metallic metal painting. I've got some friends that are really good at it. I am truly terrible at it. So I invest in the metallic metal paints, and then it goes a whole lot easier. Yeah. So spoiled by FTL on your PC. I know, right? It's so fast. We've got flying skulls. Got nice little wings. Nice little whoosh on the bottom. This is another guy we are not painting today because he also needs metal highlights. The banding for the shield and the helm, and probably the sword, but we could give him a magic sword if we wanted. We've got another undead wizardy type thing. This guy probably doesn't need any metallic paints. None of this really needs to be metal because the staff is natural. It's got a crystal. This around his hat, it's not metal. I mean, you could add some gold highlights, but eh. Can you see all the fizz? I can't see it. I can't see it from here. Yeah, the no delay is amazing on Mixer. It really is. Except when you're on mobile, and then you have all the delay in the world. Okay, you've got the pumpkin-based spawn point. Nice tree holding up a pumpkin. Still less delay on mobile than YouTube, that. Yeah. So, fancy tree. I don't know if I can paint the spider today, because it might need to be reprimed. YouTube chat, now that you know about Mixer. There is a reason why hardly anyone streams on the YouTube gaming. But yeah, the spider is nice. I think we could paint it primed as it is. It's not as bad as at least one of the other models. We've got the skeletal spawn point. Nice spine there along the back. We've got the werewolf. Arr. Oddly enough, he's one of the heroes. Now, unfortunately, Von Draken bat form needs to be reprimed. I didn't get enough here on his wing. The paint's likely to chip off if I don't give it another layer of primer over there. Okay, what is the spine doing on a skeleton? The shark spine is cartilage, meaning it would not stay there. What? It's a human skeleton? Maybe they should call it that. So yeah. We've got big old bat form of the vampire, but can't be painting him today. We didn't get enough primer on the wing. Here's his normal form. Ah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he got primed okay. But, again, got a sword, so not gonna be doing him today. We've got some form of angel. It's unclear whether or not she's a cherub or a seraphim. It's hard to count how many wings she has. So I said quality manual, auto mode is bad. Yeah, real bad. And so, yes, we've got the angel. I'd probably want gold metallic paint for the halo, so probably gonna hold off on her as well. We've got the human form of the werewolf, Van Helsing. Whoopish, 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 whoopish. Yeah, having the music for the painting is really good because we don't have any game sounds to fill up the empty space. Why am I making whipping noises when it's not moving? Imagination, sugar! Imagination! It was in focus there for a second. And I believe the only other thing I've got is a cleric healer type hero. Got a nice little book. Got a nice little mace. I'm not sure the mace needs to be metallic. Hey, cool cat, welcome back. Yep, tiny little book. Little mace. She's a cleric. That's what clerics do. Yeah, mobile is a little iffy. Just drive your motorbike or your van? My money's on van. You say that in buffers for a second? Okay, so there's the cleric. So you have now seen all of the options, unless you're Cool Cat and you just got here, and then you've seen hardly any of them. What should we pick? Should we do detail work on these guys, or should we start something new? Hey, thanks for the follow, Wolfgamer1155. Now to see whether or not my duck works. And I fixed it! Ah! Why is my duck broken again? Didn't crash, it's just not being a duck. That's really weird. I like the duck too. Because it's kind of looking like it didn't quite get into the right callback. Oh, because I turned it off. Because it was being a jerk. Oh, there's the duck. Maybe it's just slow. What on earth? How is the duck taking that long? Okie dokes. The duck is just slow today again. Okay, did I make the models? No, I did not sculpt these. They're from a board game. Say start a new one, go outside and do another thing. We want more ducks. But, okay, so... Ghost. 20,000. Hey, just what Pop would say. Thanks for buying Rising Mag tutorials. Tips Chromacy. Most popular spot. Awesome. Congrats. Now we've made it back down to the bottom, and one person has cast a vote. What do you want to see painted? Besides the duck, because I can't paint the duck. I already drew it. Someday, I'll figure out why it took so long for that duck to show up. I thought I optimized it. Paint the skeleton, the shark skeleton? There was no shark skeleton. There was, however, this. I just get the feeling there are too many vertebrae. Don't know how many vertebrae a human has, but I don't think it's that many. I don't have a swan. If you want a swan, go listen to one of my Minecraft episodes where I play Camille Saint-Saëns the Swan. Nixius! Welcome back. Trying to figure out what to paint. I'm not going to go through them again, but you have the option of highlighting these, doing something new. There's werewolf, a bunch of skeletons, a flying skull thing, and some China pasta for board game can shoot toothpicks. Nice. There's some witches, some frogs. They might be toads. I don't really know the difference. $33 vertebrae, really? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There are only 19 on this, so apparently there aren't enough vertebrae. So they're probably just not to scale. That's weird. Because if you straighten this guy's spine out at all, I mean, unless this is a small headstone, he'd be very, very big. Or it's a gargoyle. That is possible. So it seems hardly anyone has an opinion. So we'll put these guys off to the side. And I'll look at them myself, see what I feel like painting. Loving the chilled out music. I'm glad. It's one of those free music streaming things that is free for streaming and doesn't cause copyright issues. So it's nice. Yeah, I can't do a cooking show because that would require prep time. Because, yes, if this were an actual teaching show, I would have these 4 guys in various states of completion. But I don't have the time to paint them outside of the stream, so that's why I'm painting them on the stream. But I can paint them and then put them to dry and paint the other one, put it to dry, paint the other one, put it to dry, and cycle through them, which will be better than painting one thing and then having to paint something completely different. And never getting any real progress on any. And I didn't get a chance to check how liquid... Oh, JavaScript error occurred. Cannot read property user on line 295. Good job, Twitch. Gotta restart the bots. Okay, now the chat should start moving again. There it goes. Okay, so we got these guys. Okay, so we're gonna need to work on bone colors, we're gonna need to work on swoosh colors, and we're gonna need to work on wing colors. So I've got a couple of things that I found. Sugar? You keep asking for things I can't do. Okay, so we're not doing the gloss varnish, that's a whole other thing. But I've got a couple of colors that have worked really well for skeletons in the past. So we've got tanned leather, golden blonde, and white. So that's a pretty good bone color. I'm thinking for the swoosh on the bottom, we'll have green and greener. Yes, wasabi. Shamrock and wasabi will probably make a good swoosh. I think my yellow might be dead, so I might be able to add some yellow to it, I might not. And then for the wings, I was thinking a nice dark purple and some sort of blue. And as you can tell, if you've done any painting before, these are the super cheap hobby brands. Rickrex had 2 updates. Quite a few updates. I've got myself a wet palette where I can just add the color and it should stay wet for a nice long time. The question is, should I fill in the eyes first? It might be good to put the black in the eyes and the mouth prior to doing the skull. Yeah, monster wings do tend to be purple. Kind of nice. Okay, let's see how my brushes are doing. Haven't been used in a while. One of my tiny detail brushes is having some minor issues. chat servers seem to be disconnecting a little. Keep an eye out. So let's see how my black paint is doing. Oh, it's just fine. Okay, so there are no details in the eye sockets except for this little eyeball thingy, which I may or may not paint. And inside the mouth, there's hardly anything. So I'm going to actually black those out. I will likely use thicker paint than I should because I really want to get it covered up pretty quick, and there are no details to preserve. So normally you'd water this paint down and do a watercolor sort of thing where you lay on tons of layers to get what you like. Yeah, it ate one of your messages. Why did it eat one of your messages? I don't have two chats open, do I? I shouldn't. Weird. Regardless. Right, so we're gonna just get on in here. I'm not certain I can get a good view of it for you while I'm trying to paint it myself, because I'm certainly not going to try to paint it from my preview, because that would be insane. And like those weird things that you see at certain science museums where you try to do things via a different screen where it's either upside down or delayed. Now we don't have to be super careful with this because little extra details on the inside are fine. So if we've got a little black on the teeth, it won't cause a huge deal when we add the actual skull color to it. So I was actually thinking, if possible, we might try to make the eye dots green like the swoosh on the bottom, but I don't know if it'll actually work. Oh, Mixer! Mixer decided to refresh and turn the sound back on. So you've got the view directly above it. I'm only off by a little bit of an angle. So yeah, it might actually show up fine. But I'm sure certain angles like this one might miss a little bit. And Mac just got to the refresh. So all of the other paint we're going to use is going to be much thinner than this. Except maybe the first layer of the leather. But even the first layer of leather I'm going to water down more than this. And I think it comes out of the tube more watered down than this black. And painting is a great time to just chit-chat about things because there's no intense action to distract us. What are you yelling about, computer? OBS disconnected. Oh, you jerk. So we had another one of those drops like we had that other day. And so OBS dropped, and it'll be back in a moment. And it might be back, it might not. Let me refresh. Yeah, Mixer dropped. And I think it might be back. But it might not be. I might need to restart OBS. Because OBS says it reconnected, but my refresh is not bringing it back. And nobody in that chat is acting like they can hear me, so... Ah, it's back for you guys? Ah, there. It's finally back for me. So, yeah. Just Mixer being a jerk. Oh, right. I wanted to, drop a promo over on Straub's page. Okay. Back to work! Yeah, I don't know why Mixer is being a jerk. Did the same thing on Wednesday, where it just dropped for a second and then it came back, but it didn't come back for everyone. And it's not my internet because it didn't drop on the other services. And, you know, the music's still going. Need to remember to keep it in the middle. And like I said, we don't have to be super careful at this point. So feel free to be the Bob Ross chat and yell ruined when I ruin things, because that is the nature of painting. You ruin it, and then a little bit, it's amazing. And in my case, it goes from ruined to at least not ruined. Because I'm not convinced any of my stuff is amazing, but that's what happens when you have friends who are actually amazing at painting. Because you remember that tiny book that the cleric had? I've got a friend who would actually put text in the book. Like, not just tiny squiggles to make you think there's text. Actual text! Have a good one, Omega. It is a little late. So do you shout ruined in Haley's streams? Yeah, I've never actually caught any of her painting streams. Hopefully, we can make enough progress today for me to get to the dry brushing. I do enjoy dry brushing. Because it's so very simple and so very effective. At least on YouTube you can at least look up the latency overhead time. That is handy. Right, need to get up on his hard pallet. Don't want to miss any angles. Because then somebody will look at it upside down and be like, what's the deal with this white part? And there we go. Like Mike and Ike. Ooh, right. Their noses. Darkness in the nose. We're not going to put black in his teeth right now. Once we do the skull work, we'll come back and wash some black into his teeth. I believe you mean their nasal cavities. Why is it the end of you if your mom sees you getting water? Are you not supposed to be awake? Because sleep is good for you. And there goes OBS again. Goodbye, Mixer. Welcome back, Mixer. Slowly convincing me to not actually stream Fortnite later. Yep. It beeped at me, saying, hey, I'm dead! And then it was not dead. So I just kept painting, because it's going to keep doing that. Until they realize there's a problem, and then they'll break it even more, and then it'll be fine. Nice deep, dark sockets for these guys. And shush it somewhere so I can basically sleep all day. Yeah, sleep is still good for you. Okay. Okay, go full ninja. Get caught. Have a good one. Have to sleep at 11:30. Yep, a regular sleep schedule is good for all sorts of things. Not just being awake, but pretty much anything having to do with your brain or other parts of your body. So basically everything benefits from actually having a reasonable sleep cycle. Now, it doesn't have to be the same as everyone else. But consistency helps a lot. Server broke for 4 to 5 hours. Yeah, I saw that. They were not expecting as many people as they got. That's what you get for making a good game, Epic. Yeah, I saw their dev cast where they're like, so have we accounted for being able to play with like 80,000 people all trying to play at once? And the dev was like, oh, well, I don't think we'll ever really get to that. And then it was double that in about an hour. Ooh, that was weird. It lost the keyframe there. Yeah, I'm not trusting Mixer at the moment, so I actually have it up while I'm working. And every now and then I see something out of the corner of my eye and go, what were you doing, Mixer? Yeah, and I want to get this middle bit. Like, I want to get the eye sockets nice and clean, such that I can paint the bone over any black that gets on the outside. If I do it the other way around, it'll be more frustrating, because then I'll have to go back in again and tidy up the bone. And I would much rather have the bone encroaching on the black than the black encroaching on the bone. Get mixed signals. Man, that bass really sounds like it wants to go into Gangnam Style. Whoops. Dropped him. Yeah, and a real pro would have much better tools, much better ways of holding these guys. Potentially comparable brushes. These are actually pretty decent brushes. Well, at least they were when I bought them. Why is my brush bent? That is how it comes. It's for reaching in strange directions. It's not strictly meant for what I'm using it for right now, but it's got a nice sharp point, so it's good for doing some detail work, and it helps you get in under things. So now we clean it off. And there goes Mixer again. Bye, Mixer. Hello, Mixer. Welcome back. Ooh, I don't have a dry paper towel. I'm gonna wait for Mixer. Okay, Mixer's back. I need to go grab a dry paper towel. I'll be right back. Enjoy the music. I have returned! Okay, so now I have a dry paper towel, so I can finish cleaning off my brush. Because we don't want black getting in our skull mixture. So for the next part, we're going to coat the skull in tanned leather. Need for Speed game. Might just need to pre-order it. What do you get for pre-ordering it that you don't get for just ordering it? So tanned leather is the base coat for my way of doing skulls. Blue tire smoke. Is that really worth it? For a game that might not be amazing? Early gameplay. Then if you're impatient, that's a perfectly reasonable way to go. Like 3 days. Does it have online features? Because then it's not going to work the first time. First day, it's just gone. Yeah, so was Diablo 3. Because Diablo 3 had just plain old single player, but it had mandatory online connections for authentication and anti-piracy purposes, and thus I couldn't play it single player the day it was released. That was real frustrating. That was my first experience trying to play an online game the day it was released. You will not have to have an internet connection to play the game. Well, it's good that they explicitly say that. Because nowadays, you never can tell if they don't tell you. It's hard to see right underneath his chin here. Go. Only arcade racing you can play with controller. So what do you like? What do you need from keyboard and mouse controls, or just plain old keyboard controls for the other racing games that you can't play it with a controller? Yeah, the music's just being a little quiet. I don't mind one bit. We can get a little blend of the skull material and the fouche material here. Because the fouche is likely to be at least a little bit transparent anyway. At least in theory. Plato 2 doesn't accept controller inputs? It's weird. Like, there are games you wouldn't even expect to have controller control that do. But for a racing game, you'd think it could be a really nice thing to have the analog stick for. Getting along the inside here for his teeth, because they don't need to be black on the inside. But acrylics are transparent, so it's going to take an extra couple of layers to actually knock out the black that's there. Yeah, having higher resolution input is way better than just being like, left, right! Dub. Are you talking about the music or what? Just like saying random things? Okay. PS2 on the street? Or the sidewalk? Like, what? How would someone just leave a PS2 laying around like that? I mean, maybe if it's broken, but even then, the sidewalk? Was it one of the originals or one of the slim ones? Good job on the ninja, except not so great on the ninja part, but at least you made it backwards. Slim PS2? Pretty sure there was. But it was released later and had a narrower profile than the original. So depending on which one you know, you might just not know the original thick one. Oh yeah, 2 controller ports and a CD drive. That's what a PS2 has. The thin one just wasn't quite as tall. That it wasn't more narrow long ways. It was more narrow vertically. I might be thinking of the PS3, but I'm fairly certain the PS2 had a slim version too. When they figured out how to compress the electronics a bit. Yeah, it was real tiny. Like, it might have even been tiny by, like, current standards. And so at this point you might be thinking, Light, bones don't look like leather. Why are you making it look like leather? Don't worry. Don't worry. There's a plan. Granted, I'm not entirely convinced this paint looks like leather. Got ourselves a decent base coat. My pumps don't look like. Why do you make it look like that? Looks like caramel. Oh, there's a good question for you. Do you pronounce it caramel or caramel? And, regardless of which way you pronounce it, does it depend on which of the foodstuffs you're talking about? Because there are some people who, depending on what they're talking about, change whether they say caramel or caramel. And I'm one of those people. Okay. There's still a little bit missing down there. Doing a little touch up on the eye sockets. Caramel apple but caramel latte, yeah. So for me, the difference is whether or not you're eating it by itself. I'm gonna put this guy over by the fan, such that he dries off faster. So for me, a caramel is a caramel. It's a piece that you eat. Whoop. Eat it directly. And then caramel is like what you drizzle on things and what you put in a latte or a macchiato. But that's just me. Silver PS2 Slim Need. The delay is crazy again? That's no good. Let's see what the delay is like for me. About a second. Okay, so let's clean this off, dry this off. Get some leather on this guy. Gonna do this part first, such that I might have a chance of putting a second coat on it before I send them to dry really well. Because those black bits are going to need a significant portion. Well, the CG drive doesn't eject. It has a door. I'm not certain what that means. Like, does it not have a tray? You just insert it directly, like modern things? Or does it have, like, a flip top and you just drop it in? Oh, flip top, like the old, did the Dreamcast have that? Goodbye, Mixer. Hello, Mixer. Welcome back. At least it tells me, and I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. And there's nobody actually there. Okay, this leather is getting a little wetter than I would like. That just means we're likely to need more layers than we would otherwise. Let's add a little bit extra onto swoosh. Hey, voices in your head often want burgers. Glad you jumped to YouTube for the jokes that are said while Mixer's down. Yep. Exclusive content. So I'm trying to be at least a little bit careful around the eye sockets. And so I'll drain the brush on other parts of him and then start doing the eye sockets such that it isn't too wet and drip on in. And hey, look, Mixer died again. It's gonna be Doctor Who by the end of this stream. And we're back. My goodness. This is getting ridiculous. So, I'm thinking when I restart everything for Fortnite, I'm going to switch ingestion servers. Because this is just ridiculous. We should not have 5 drops in an hour. Zero bids and it ends in a day? Yeah, well... Oh man, I got a little too much bone in that. Let's see if I can do something about that. Thanks for the follow. Thank you for accepting my duck. It will be along shortly. And if it's not, well, we'll just have to scold it a little. Okay, so we removed a lot of it, but we can just do another layer of black in there to get rid of it completely. There he is! Thanks for the follow. Thank you for accepting my Xbox One's about as big as the original Xbox, so huge like Xbot is accurate again! By huge, we mean huge! Not, you know, popular. Huge! It is pretty popular, but still. Huge! And anybody who's out there lurking, feel free. You can tell me to say things, but I'm not going to say things. I say what I like. I say what I mean. Except when I don't. All that's true. Except for the lies. What the heck, we'll throw in some Oscar Wilde. I can resist anything except temptation. Okay. Am I going to stream in 5 days? I'm going to go with probably not. Because I'm actually leaving town next Thursday, so... Yes, 5 days is Wednesday. Wednesday I am likely to stream, but I might be packing. So... a strong maybe on the Wednesday stream. So I do hope I do, actually. What are you looking forward to? Okay. This guy's looking okay. We're still missing a few little bits and bobs here and there. But in the end, not really gonna make that big of difference. Because there's still many layers after this one. Find one of your cars to look like Brian O'Connor's Mitsubishi Eclipse GST from Fast and Furious. Kinda your birthday. That is pretty awesome. But it's against terms of service to talk about which birthday it is, so don't say which one it is. Kind of felt like it might go into the Chocobo theme there for a little bit. Just a regular old birthday, yeah. Kind of. So, who's going to be the first person to tell me whether or not that number is divisible by 7? How about divisible by 3? 3 will be easier. Indeed it is. You were doing it in your head. There's actually an easier way to determine if it's divisible by 3 in your head. And you'll never find out because Mixer died again. Ah, what a waste. Now they'll never know that you can just add up all the digits. Yep, always on the best part. Always. Always, always on the best part. So I was saying... since 10 is 1 mod 3, you can actually add up the digits to determine whether or not it's divisible by 3. And anytime it gets bigger than 3, you can just subtract 3 from it and keep going. And so you can just remove all of the 3s, 6s, and 9s from that number. and then work on adding up the others. So you can grab 2s and 4s in pairs. You can grab 7s and 8s in pairs, and just remove them. Yes, I know you can just use a calculator, but it's one of those concepts that you could extend to other mathematical things to make your life easier when you can't use a calculator. Not because you don't have one, but because the numbers are ridiculous. Because calculators only work for numbers that you can write down in a finite amount of time. And abstract mathematics does not care about those numbers at all. It cares about numbers that you will not be typing into a calculator. Apparently, Extortion Bunny is concerned regarding the status of one of the skeletons.
Oh, I'm not concerned. I've come in here to look at them because YouTube keeps kicking me off of your stream every 2 minutes.
Oh no, YouTube's kicking her off. Even though it's Mixer that's being a butt. Perhaps I should check my my bitrate. It says 1500. Let's check the other one. Yeah, 1500. Shouldn't be a problem. Your mental math processor still has signal noise. But yeah, abstract math wants to solve things for infinitely many numbers, and you just can't use calculators for any of that. And so the trick that you do with the divide by 3 is just something to get you understanding modular arithmetic to be able to apply it to other things. Yeah, it's not my connection to YouTube. It's more likely her iPad is just being a jerk. It's a nice iPad, but sometimes it's a little bit of a jerk. And it is, yeah, it is a bit old. So, it's allowed to be cantankerous. And I like the word cantankerous. Cantankerous. Okay, so we're gonna try to avoid painting over this bandage. Because we'll need to do a little bit of highlight and shadow on it, but we don't want it bone colored such that it'll stand out. I don't have any pets at the moment. I still rent my house. We can't update the app. Like we said, it's an old iPad. So, like, it tries to update itself, but it can only do so much. Yeah, certain landlords are okay with pets. Ours is not. Because of the sorts of people who tend to rent these houses are not responsible enough to keep pets and not completely destroy the place. So, likely, we could talk them into it, but we'd have to be rather persistent. And with Extortion Bunny's dissertation now roughly completed and off to her committee, we're more likely to be looking into a more permanent location, potentially. Who knows, though? Why is who Swiss? Oh, this? Yes. Would work better if the colors were right.
Let the night set in. A blanket of darkness.
Not expecting music with words.
It's getting harder to see.
You had to look up cantankerous? Oh, it's such a good word. But then again, I know all sorts of random, interesting words. Yeah, she's been giddy all day. Because she's been working on that thing full time for a long time now. And by full time, I mean full time. It's not that she doesn't do other things, it means that 8 hours a day she sits down and writes it. And researches it, and all the other various and sundry things that go into it. Kids are worse than pets. They're certainly more expensive than pets. But it's easier to get a rented house with a child than it is with a dog. The paint keeps pulling away back here. Weird. Like, it's not even going with gravity to pull away unless it's flowing somewhere I'm not seeing.
I've got the fuel that can set you off. I'll be happy to lie here and burn. You'll be gone in a second.
Yeah, like this part right here. You saw me paint it.
Because it's 3 o'clock in the morning, we can stay out here till the sunrise. If the world thinks they can hold me back, I'm gonna let 'em in on a surprise.
I've been thinking of all the places I've been and the places that I wanna be. If you ain't ready for all the involved, then I guess you ain't ready for me. I swear that
We'll find a safe hiding place.
your light will guide
Okay.
us on the way.
I think that's a good enough base coat.
You can be my secret in the night.
On to the next. Best console ever? That's a bold claim. Very bold claim. Particularly when the Super Nintendo exists. You know you're playing with fire, yeah. Wing stem rubbing off. Well, the wings don't actually move any, so like even if I hit them, they don't move. Did they just say, if you need a place to hide, I'll be your flashlight? Flashlights are terrible for hiding with.
We'll set the whole world on fire.
I'll be a flashlight, I'll be a flashlight.
We'll set the whole
Ugh.
world on fire.
I'll be a flashlight, I'll be a flashlight.
I guess, but if you're playing hide and seek where there's bears and you need that flashlight to see if there are bears in your dark hole, you should probably be playing somewhere else. That being said, my hometown did have a bear, but... I think the surface tension is pulling the paint places I don't want it to go. Stupid water-based paints, too much surface tension. Pure might be a strong claim, but sure. Because sugar is just a hydrocarbon. And I have burnt sugar before, and I can attest to its high carbon content afterwards. Trying to make caramels. Boom. Evaporate might not be the right word for it, but yeah. Because the oxidation process happens to the hydrogen, not to the carbon. Yeah, look at that. But it's nice and thick, and then it shrinks back together. Wow. Don't know what to play? That is a very common conundrum. I think we might need a little more water in this. Actually, we might just grab a little extra from the bottle itself. Doesn't it make water when you burn sugar? It's possible. And then the sugar boils off as steam. Speaking of steam. Okay. And finally, this dude is done chasing storms. Like, I'm fine with minimalism, but come on, the point of minimalism is that it repeats enough that you really savor the times where it changes. He just kept chasing storms. So, do any of y'all do physical art like this, or do you stick to the digital? So I can appreciate going digital because you pay once for the software, if at all, and then the materials are free-ish. Whereas for this, you need to get the things, and you need to get the paints, and cups, and the paper towels, and all sorts of things. And you wouldn't believe the insane setup I went to just get this on stream in a way that's to my standards. Yeah, canvases are pretty expensive. And oil paints are not cheap. If you want to do acrylics on canvas, not only is it expensive, but it takes a lot of time. paint is going to dry on you. And so you either have to go in with a very good plan, or a lot of patience and a lot of time. Whereas, if you use some really thick oil paints like Bob Ross, well, then you can just push it around the canvas all day. Gives you a lot more freedom to screw things up and then be like, I actually wanted that over. And with the oil paints, the paints stick instead of blend. And so, if you want to add something, you just paint it on top with a thinner paint. Whereas with acrylic, it's really hard to cover things up. You need to put a lot of paint on it to cover it up, and when you're doing something like this, you'd end up losing the details if you do too much of it. Ooh, staining glass is really awesome. But yeah, oil paints are famous for having much more intense color because they are the color that they are. You can mix them on your palette, but they're not really going to mix much on your canvas. Whereas acrylic is all about smooth transitions and being able to take colors and add them together and make another color that you might not have even expected. You really do need to keep track of your chats, Tom. Okay, so we're going to take our fixing brush, do what we can about this in here. Then we fix it. Yeah, putting in metallic gold and getting out. I didn't think it was purple. I thought it was red that was gold. Might be mistaken. It's been a long time since I learned about what things you put in glass to get the different colors. But there was one particular color, and I thought it was red, that was really expensive because you had to put gold in it. And they could say they put gold in it and then charge even more than it really costs. Because people are like that. Okay, let's see how that first guy was. It's doing okay. Now, we can either start doing the base coat of the other two things, or we can work on getting the skull to be more skull-like. We should probably wait on doing the skull, because you want this to be really dry before you put on the next layer, or else it'll just slough off what's already there. I'll get a few different colors depending on how it's treated. That's probably true. Okay, so should I work on the swoosh next or the wings? Wings or swoosh? We have a vote for wings! Do we have any other votes? Music is getting pretty intense for the voting. A Oh, I was hoping for a drop, and it just went away. Okay, so we were thinking eggplant for the actual finger parts of the wings, and then one or both of these blues for the main wings. I was thinking base coating it in the royal and then highlighting it with island. Bye, guy! Welcome back! So we'll apply the royal blue first, and then add the eggplant, and then we'll do the highlighting when we get to the highlight. Okay, so let's shake this guy up. Let's keep this very far from our leather. Probably more paint than I'm gonna need, but that's okay. Yep. Eggplant. So we're gonna apply this blue in. Actually, let's add a bit of water to it.
Time to realize that there's no turning round. This is the
Perhaps too much water.
that you've been waiting for.
So the trouble with acrylics is it's very difficult to get the right amount of pigment versus water, such that you get the color on there, but not very thick. Because we don't want this super thick like we had the other parts, because we don't need a solid blue here. We're going for a nice light blue. So we'll probably put a couple very thin layers of the blue on there. How to use sparks. So if I had a bot active that had the interactive things down the bottom, you could use those to pay for the various things that happen. So some people have soundboards, and the more popular sounds cost more money, or more sparks, such that people don't play them quite as often. And they look forward to it, sort of like the duck. Like, Cabby has a dance party thing where it starts playing something by Baby Metal, and he has to stop what he's doing in the game and switch to a different scene and just rock out to it. And so that one costs 10,000 sparks. And even then, that's not enough, because everybody got so many sparks when they did the fireworks thing, when they changed over to being Mixer, that everybody's got 10,000 sparks to spare. And so he still gets dance partied all the time. And he plays Battlegrounds. So he's in the middle of a King of the Hill fight to the death. And then suddenly has to find a hole to hide in like 10 to 20 seconds while it's booting up. Or he'll get himself murdered. But he's got other, more ordinary soundboard options that only cost a couple of hundred. Oh, he's got a Rickroll button with a 10-minute cooldown. stops and sings along. Okay, so we're still on screen, yeah? So how's the quality of the cam? I don't use it much. Mostly just sits around. And I know it's very difficult for me to get it at a place where it focuses properly. But there's no fast movement, so you don't have to worry about the bitrate. Okay, so it's doing a little bit better now. Now we have to get the inside of this other wing. Which I know people are rarely ever going to see, but it's still important. Because somebody's bound to pick it up and turn it upside down. Okay. It's a good first coat. We'll come back and add one or two more coats to those parts of the wings. Yep, blue hand. Sometimes, depending on the consistency you want, it's actually better to use yourself as a palette than the palette itself. And it helps to unload the brush such that you're not getting tons of water on your model. Because you want it thin, but not super thin, and it's hard to describe all of the silly things that you need to do to make it work right. And I don't even know all the silly things you need to do. So I'm likely messing up a lot of these techniques. And there would be a quicker and easier way to do all of it. Just realized that I'm right-handed. How do you know my camera's not reversed? And there is a right answer to that, by the way. Yeah. The ring is how you know it's not reversed. Or is reversed, I don't know how you see it. Drank too much colloidal silver, that's why I'm blue. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a friend who's all about the colloidal silver. And she's one of those parents that is the first to say, how dare you let your baby cry itself to sleep, but has various other opinions that people take issue with, and just as quickly is like, how dare you tell me how to parent? There we go with these wings. Yeah, these wings should be easier to paint given their position. So, does Haley start from a sketch? Or does she just take the color and start putting it on canvas? Because I know Bob Ross tends to rail against the whole sketch it out ahead of time thing. He's just like, take what's ever in your heart and just put it on the canvas. There are no mistakes, just put something on there. Take your almighty palette knife and scrape out a nice mountain. Don't like mountains? Don't put one. Take your almighty palette knife and scrape out a tree. Don't like nature? Use your almighty palette knife and scrape out a house. If you want to do figure painting, well, maybe you should talk to someone else. Bob Ross doesn't do figures. And yes, Colin, the man. You want your painting to be blank? You can do that too. Just take your almighty palette brush, put nothing on it, scrape it across the canvas. Oh yeah, sorry to ask, but what is a Bob Ross? Yeah, you're too young, I know. Every now and then you can catch streams on Twitch, or you can watch any of his however many series of The Joy of Painting on YouTube. He is a human Quaalude. If at some point you need to fall asleep and just can't get your brain to slow down, throw on some Bob Ross. Talk about some happy little trees. Paint a nice mountain. You'll be asleep in no time. Be right back. It'll be 30 seconds. Okay. So yeah, Colin, I'm not sure how long you've been lurking, but we're just adding a little bit of base coat for our flying skulls here. Gonna make nice blue and purple wings. Gonna have a green swoosh on the bottom. We might add a little detail in the eye for some green. 3 layers from now, this skull head should look like my other skull heads, like this. was Navi in that song? Why is Navi saying hey at us? That's off-putting. Because I'm like, what? What's going on? Hey, listen. So I know you did at least one drawing stream on Facebook. Did you end up doing any more of those? I didn't see any. Part didn't go quite as planned. Definitely within 30 seconds. Yes, you, Colin. None of the rest of the people here stream on Facebook with a drawing stream. Well, I don't know if they do. They might. Has Fallen Cat around the house? And who has bad grammar? Oh, yeah, that one. Ah, been busy. Yeah. That is how things go. And I imagine it is easier to reach the people that know who you are via Facebook than it would be via Twitch or Mixer. How was it actually streaming to Facebook? Because I've never actually done that. So I've also got a friend from college who does streams to Facebook of the makeup products that she's trying to sell people. And I imagine Facebook streaming is good for that. You need to get on Twitch. Yeah, Twitch Creative has a nice number of people. Mixer is really great for the quick interactions, but there are far fewer viewers. But I've seen Straub pull in like 80 people when doing some of her art streams. It's really nice. 40 minutes to yourself because you weren't public. Oh, one of the classic blunders. Next time you're going to start a land war in Asia, aren't you? Okay, let's get a little water. Check on how dry that is. It's pretty dry. How many sobs have I seen? A few? I'm gonna go with a few. Feels like Chrono Trigger music. Oh no, you went against a Sicilian when death was on the line! Oh. Another reference that may or may not be lost on a significant portion of the audience. We expected an integer? Well, if I could give you an integer, I would, because I am a fan of integers. In this particular situation, you'd likely have expected an even smaller subset of the integers, the natural numbers, because, well, one does not expect to see a negative number of sobs. And while it is potentially possible to see a fraction of a sob, one does not often talk about having seen half of a sob. What's a nubmer? Well, given the flexibility of math nomenclature, you could define it to be pretty much anything you want, so long as it's not already a thing someone has defined. And given a name. Apparently, something happened to Extortion Bunny. She made a rather loud exclamation. Saw a Jeep today that was flipped on its roof due to an accident. No! At least it's got that roll cage to keep their melons intact. I don't know if she was playing Darkest Dungeon and lost somebody to a fanatic. Might have been playing Banished and all of her people got old and died without having kids. Probably wasn't playing Stardew Valley. It's been a while since she's played that. She might have started Final Fantasy again and gotten to the place where it didn't trigger the progression of the story. That was unfortunate. I remember. Hey, my alarm's going off. Need to remember to paint the bottoms of these parts of their wings. I'm just gonna let it ring for it. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Whew. Whew. Okay, so just missed that alarm. Just put the phone up there. Whew. I'm not sure which Final Fantasy it is. It's one of the ones that's on the DS. But I'm gonna finish up the other two of these guys' wings, such that I don't have to remember what I was doing, and then we'll switch over to Fortnite. After a brief break. We'll give Mixer a chance to think about what it's done. But the Fortnite is going to be just on Mixer. Oh, yeah.
Against a Sicilian when death was on the line.
calling?
I'm screaming, no, but I'm.
Oh wow, that's
very,
really far behind.
Very far behind.
She was screaming about the land war in Asia. Which Final Fantasy is it? 3 or 4?
What?
The one on the DS that you've been playing? Which?
It was 3.
3. Oh, she's gone already. No hands for you. They were asking to see your hands, but you had left. So I was like, nope, she left. No hands for you. Oh? Why are they gonna yell at you?
They took my ring off
Aww.
to do the dishes.
The dishes! Dishes do need to be done, though. Too much paint. There we go. Yes, indeed, very human-like. Okay. This little guy appears to be ready. And now on to the last one. Focus. Focus. So yeah, I paint faster when... Hey, Jay, welcome back. I do paint faster when I'm not streaming. But I'm less likely to actually block out the time to do it. Never thought you'd sink to making us watch paint dry. Well, you're not watching the paint dry. The paint's drying over there. I'm applying the paint. And you don't have to watch. How many of these Skelly Bros do I have? I've only got these 4 of the floating Skelly heads. I've got 4 of the Skelly Bros you saw earlier. I've got like 6 Skelly Bros in armor with swords. I've got 2 Skelly Mages with staves. I've got Von Drack, who has his normal form and his bat form. Got a handful of heroes. Okay, about you, I have to watch. Okay, but it's going to be a little bit difficult in a moment because I'm going to be switching to just Mixer for the Fortnite stream. Because the first half of the stream is now done. I pronounce it staves, and the vast majority of musicians do as well. Those that don't say staffs. There are those heathens. Staves? Okay, so nice and cleaned up. So those guys, we've added a couple of base coats to. We still need to add a base coat to the swoosh on the bottom and the finger parts of wings, and then we need to add highlights and shadows and details and dry brushes and all sorts of things. But I'll go through the other things for you, those of you who weren't here at the beginning. Of the things that I still have to paint. Sugar, that is not a nice thing to say. We've got a pumpkin-headed spawn Pumpkin-headed spawn point. Focus. Pumpkin-headed spawn point. Acrylic. We're using acrylic on these things. Since they were the base coats, I was using much thicker paint than I would in most circumstances. But we weren't in any of the details that we would need a nice thin paint for. Like this guy, I wouldn't want to lay it on nearly so thick. So this guy's going to take a long time. Spawn point. The point at which things come into play. Because there are also... Focus. These spawn points. Would that not be a pregnant woman? Yeah. Spray primer. We used Krylon Fusion. Because these are plastic pieces. So Krylon Fusion goes on real nice, sticks really nice. It wasn't quite good enough for Batman, but you'll see that in a moment. So yeah, there are tons of great pieces in this game. So there's the giant spider. Speaking of webs. This guy has tons of detail. There's going to be a lot of thin paint going on this. This is going to take many hours just for this guy. Yeah, super fitting music. So, which are you noping to, Jay? The spray? Oh, the kill it before it lays eggs. Yeah, totally. There's the werewolf. Come on, focus. I should probably leave my hand here while getting the next piece. So we got the werewolf, the wolf form. He's really awesome. Not a whole lot of detail. This guy, you can use a lot of thick paint except for around his snout. The rest of it, you don't really need all that detail. So a lot of these smooth areas we can paint over the base coat pretty thick. And then you've got his human form right here. Yeah! Whoosh! 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 We got the angel. Tons of little details here. That'll be really fun. Durf is live with Fortnite. Cool. I don't know, Durf. Don't like asking people I don't know. Am I going to fill in the gap in the base? Probably not. I'm not as picky about that as I probably should be. And here's Von Drac, the villain, with his fancy sword. Ah, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know he exists, but I've never actually watched any of his things. And here's his bat form. Sorry. But I didn't prime this area nearly well enough, so I might need to go back and add a little more primer on this wing. Well, you paint Tracy got for Terraforming Mars. I haven't gotten to play that. I want to play that game. Platform. But yeah, one of my friends has Terraforming Mars and has played it a couple of times. This witch is falling over. This point right here, it got too hot and she's just kind of falling over now, which I kind of like. The liminal state. We've got Skelly Bros in a significant amount of armor. Heavy armored Skelly Bros, only 2 of these guys. We've got the studded leather armor Skelly Bros. Maybe not studded leather, but certainly not heavy armor on these guys. Boil the witch and you can straight her out. That's possible, but I kind of like her falling over like that. So, light armor Skelly Bros. There's 6 of those. Skelly Mage. Choo! Choo! Gonna have a lot of fun with this guy, because you can do a lot of fun things with the cloth textures. There's the Necromancer. Cute little skull. I like the cute little skull. Like the awesome hair. Can do a lot of fun things with the crazy hair, crazy cloth textures. I like it. And then we've got the Cleric with her tiny book and giant mace. Like any good cleric, knocks them out, but does not kill them. But if they stay out sufficiently long, pretty sure she gave him a concussion and put him into a coma. Nice cloak, too. Like a good cleric, stay fun. Yeah. And the frog! Or toad, or whatnot. Yeah, the horror theme is really nice. The super adorable horror theme is great. Now, unfortunately, there are only 2 of the frogs. There's not 4 of them, like in Talisman. No, these are not Forgotten King. They're the Von Drock expansion to the original. I don't have Forgotten King yet. Because I've already painted the base game. I've got that downstairs. I don't think I've got any of it nearby that I can just show you here. But if you look on YouTube, the thumbnail has a lot of those. Oh, right, the Death Spectre that I have on the YouTube thumbnail is actually from this set. So that one's really quite nifty looking. The problem is I work on my laptop for making the thumbnails and whatnot, so all the pictures of these, I'm fairly certain, are on... Yeah, pretty sure they're all on my laptop, not on this desktop. So I can't even just drop them in the OBS and show you. I don't have them printed out, so unless you want me to run downstairs and get the set and show it to you, you'll have to wait for another time. How many expansions are there? So you've got the base game, you've got the Forgotten King, which is a whole new base game that lets you play against the board itself. There's Von Drock with the horror theme. There's the Caverns of Roxor, which is a fire theme. There are tiny boxes of just people. And they kickstarted an RPG version where you can do Hero Quest type expansions. Or, not expansions, scenarios. So you can go and do some dungeon crawling, fight yourself a gargoyle, or who knows what. And gain experience, gain items, and progress to more difficult things. Really looking forward to that. But as of the moment, there are only the 2 big box expansions. I believe there are only 2 or 3 of the medium boxes, and there's a ton of the little guys, where it's just the one kobold figure or the one dark elf figure, where you get a couple of cards and one dude, and that's all you get. Okay, this has been a bunch of fun. Legends is not out yet. They kickstarted that. They keep sending me emails. They're still making progress, but it's not quite done yet. Really looking forward to it, though. So once that gets here, I'll consider getting Forgotten King. I also need to finish painting these, and then start painting Roxor. I just get too distracted by everything else. Like, I got all of the main game done all in a row, and then I stopped, which is a terrible idea. Okay, focus. Terrible idea. Don't stop once you've started something. You get going, get good momentum, but when you stop, it's so hard to get going again. Will the existing minis fit? Yes, because they're also releasing a second edition of the base game. So they're rejiggering the minis and probably some of the rules, but all of the actual things will remain. So you can still use the kobolds with the new stuff. At least that's what they've been saying. And if they don't, well, you can always just make the game yourself. Am I still blue? Nope. Well, maybe a little. So, if there aren't any other questions about Super Dungeon Explorer or my painting, probably going to call this part of the stream done. If you're not currently on Mixer, you might want to grab yourself a Mixer account. Chat is spazzing. But we're gonna call this stream. I'm gonna cut it and then go on to just Mixer for some Fortnite until I feel like stopping. So if you want to hang out and chat some more, head over to Mixer, grab yourself an account there. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. I would not mind doing another painting stream, but I only do these sorts of things when people vote for them. So head down into the doobly-doo and head over and get on Discord. I always post the stream polls on there for determining what it is that we're going to be doing. So why would I add your bot to Discord? I'm going to be making my own Discord bot soon. What's it do? Can't wait very long. I need to go. I need to change. There are too many lights. Look at all these lights. And the camera. And the action! Okay, if it's just funny, I don't need a funny bot. We've got you and sugar. Yeah, either way. Make it say beep boop, I'm a bot. That does not seem particularly necessary. But either way, I'm gonna call this part of the stream done, but I will be back on Mixer momentarily. Just need to put my paints away and get everything off of my desk because this is where my keyboard usually is. So, those of you who are leaving, I will see you in the next episode of, or stream of Painting, or Fortnite, or Isaac, or who knows what, with light.